Hiya. Come on in. Oh, hello, my fellow garden shed naturalists. You just caught me at the end of my meditation. Nothing better than to get some headspace than to focus on your breath, just the air going in and out of your lungs. And it made me think, it's something that we all take for granted actually, isn't it? Breathing, air going in and out of your lungs. We don't even think about it. But it made me come up with some interesting questions, which were:
1. Why do we breathe? 2. How do we breathe? 3. Do all animals breathe? 4. Do all animals breathe in the same way as we do?
So join me on a voyage of discovery as we go to find the answer to these 4 questions. Let's go.
Question 1. Why do we breathe? Well, our bodies, like the bodies of all animals, are made out of cells. The human body, in fact, contains 30 trillion cells. That's 13 zeros. Each cell is made of a nucleus and mitochondria and a load of other stuff that's set in a jelly-like cytoplasm, which is surrounded by a membrane to keep it all nice and safe. Aww. The mitochondria are the real heroes in this story, as they are responsible for energy production through respiration, where glucose and oxygen are reacted inside the mitochondria to make energy and expel carbon dioxide and water as waste products, as shown in this big, long, unnecessary chemical equation. The cells use this energy to carry out growth and repair and all other cellular functions, but this does mean that they need a constant supply of fresh oxygen and a way of getting rid of that waste carbon dioxide. And that's why we breathe.
And that's where our respiratory system comes in.
Question 2. How do we breathe? The first part of our respiratory system is our windpipe, or trachea, which leads to 2 strong lungs which can inflate like balloons, and a strong muscle called a diaphragm, which relaxes and contracts, which allows the lungs to inflate. When the lungs inflate, they bring fresh oxygen into the respiratory system, and when they deflate, they expel waste carbon dioxide.
However, this is only half of the process, as now the oxygen needs to get to the cells and the carbon dioxide needs to get from the cells back to the lungs. So let's find out what happens there. Woo!
This happy chappy is your heart, and he's continuously beating, pushing blood around your body. Since we are mammals, we have a mammalian heart which consists of 4 chambers. These are the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium, and the left ventricle. The heart's first job is to pump blood to the lungs to pick up that vital oxygen. It does this by taking deoxygenated blood in through the right atrium, pumping it through the left ventricle and out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. The blood travels through tiny blood vessels called capillaries in the lung tissue, where it takes up oxygen into specialized cells called hemocytes and releases carbon dioxide from the blood plasma, ready to be released to the environment with the next exhalation. This all happens in specialized structures in your lungs called alveoli, which look a little bit like these broccolis. Ooh, very nice. Oxygenated blood travels back to the heart via the pulmonary vein and enters the left atrium. It is then pumped through the left ventricle before leaving the heart to travel through the arteries and deliver the oxygen to the body cells, before once again arriving at the right atrium as deoxygenated blood. The whole cycle then starts again.
So that answers question 2. We breathe to bring fresh oxygen to our cells to allow them to carry out respiration, which gives them the energy to grow and repair themselves and keep us fit and healthy. So, what was question 3 again?
Question 3. Do all animals breathe?
Well, if you'd asked a couple of years ago, I'd have to say yes, but now I have to say no.
This is Hennegaia salminicola. It is a parasitic multicellular organism closely related to jellyfish that lives in the tissues of salmon, and a study published early in 2020 found out something remarkable about this little critter. It does not need to breathe oxygen or even carry out respiration to survive.
But other than that, all animals breathe. All animals need oxygen to survive. Just that one. Just that one that doesn't. as far as we know. Might be subject to change in the future.
Question 4. Do all animals breathe in the same way as we do?
No. That's it. No. See you next time. We'll have a look at some examples. Come on.
Birds, like this blackbird, Turdus marula, have very similar respiratory systems to mammals, but there are some key differences, so let's take a look. Just like mammals, birds have lungs, but there's one key difference. These lungs don't expand, they're static, and the airways travel straight through them and out the other side. In place of the mammalian-type diaphragm and balloon-like lungs, birds have developed air sacs. As the bird moves its head, wings, legs or tail, the air sacs expand and contract, causing air to flow through the lungs. The lungs then take oxygen into the blood and expel carbon dioxide back out into the respiratory system. Just like mammals, birds also have a 4-chambered heart which pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs, brings oxygenated blood back to the heart and then pushes the oxygenated blood around the body. This way of breathing is very efficient, as each breath travels through the lungs several times. Also, the faster the bird flaps its wings, the more fresh air is brought into the system, which makes it less likely that the bird will become exhausted through flying. Fish, on the other hand, have a completely different way of breathing. Instead of lungs, fish have internal structures called gills. The fish's heart, which contains only 2 chambers, takes deoxygenated blood into the ventricle, pumps it through the atrium and then around the gills, where it takes up oxygen from water which passes over the gills as it is taken in through the mouth and pushed out through the gill covers. Unlike in mammals, without returning to the heart, this oxygenated blood is then pumped through the body where the cells take up oxygen and carbon dioxide is diffused into the plasma, ready to be removed and released via the gills.
Bob, wait.
If you think that's strange, can you guess which animals take up oxygen without the use of lungs, without the use of a heart, and without even the use of blood? Take a walk on a warm summer's evening and you're likely to see thousands of them. That's right. They're those things that everybody loves to hate. The insects. Instead of taking air in through a nose or a mouth, insects like this midge have specialised holes in the sides of their body known as spiracles. But to see what goes on inside them, we need to take a cross-sectional view. The inner walls of the spiracles are lined with hairs to prevent dust from entering the respiratory system. Air is drawn in through the spiracle and into tubes known as tracheae, which branch into thinner and thinner tubes and end within the cells themselves. Oxygen is taken up by the cells and carbon dioxide is put out back into these small tubes called tracheoles before being expelled into the environment. This system works well for small insects, but some insects are whoppers, like this wart-biter cricket. The larger you are, the more oxygen you need to survive, and large insects have developed a system similar to birds with air sacs to ensure the air continues to flow in and out of the respiratory system. Just like in birds, these air sacs are inflated and deflated as the body parts of the insect are moved. It's evidently a very successful system, as insects are one of the largest groups of animals on the planet.
So there we go, Garden Shed Naturalists. Hope you've enjoyed today's expedition, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.
If you've enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave it a like or a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, The Garden Shed Naturalist, for more content. Goodbye.